Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Stellar, aka XLM. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. Some of the latest developments around this space have really kind of confirmed everyone's thought process, which is the fact that we are early on this massive transformation happening around finance. I mean, it's no secret at this point that every single major large asset management company out there is now looking into tokenization. Pretty much every single institution out there is also looking at tokenization because they know that this is the next frontier of, finance, banking, payments, you name it. And some of these players in the space that have been around for a while, you mentioned it, Stellar, Ripple. These are some very large players that have been around for a while. They know what they're doing. They have the connections at the forefront. They are here. They are ready. And I do believe that they are going to be the companies that are around for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, revolutionizing the way that we make payments, that we, receive payments, and even how we invest. And it's all happening right now. And the crazy thing is that majority of people don't actually even see it. That's the crazy part. They still are oblivious to the fact that BlackRock, which is an asset management company that has $10 trillion in assets under management, is now openly talking about how tokenization is going to be the next major step. And you also hear all of these big players talking about how tokenization is going to transcend every single asset class, every single major revolution that has happened in life as well. Like, as an opportunity that's in front of us, this is the largest one. I cannot stress that enough. But regardless, enough talking. Let's actually talk about this. So we have from the CoinDesk podcast network, to make blockchain more accessible, we should think of it as just another rail. This is Danielle Dixon. She says, comparing blockchain to the early days of the web. Check this clip out.
And it's just amazing to really think about what this technology can do. I'm more than ever committed to the idea that what this technology can do is solve that fundamental challenge of that cross-border piece and the everyday financial services piece, because so many people don't appreciate and don't realize that not having access to being able to get, like, you want funding for a project that you're doing. Hey, there's a tech stack now that can help you get that funding, and you can pull that together in a simple way, and you don't even have to know that it's on blockchain. And I think that's the important space that, when we were in the early days of the web, we always talked about, we never talked about HTML as being the thing. We talked about, like, the content being available to people. And so it was a different world in terms of how we broached the conversation. And we shot ourselves in the foot a bit here because we spend so much time on its blockchain, when in truth, it's just another rail. And if we think about it as another rail that we can leverage and that you can have the option to put on there in the things that are the easiest and simplest to do, for whatever use that you're leveraging, it's the best way to be able to achieve goodness for it.
So, yeah, I mean, as we really look at what's happening right now around the traditional world of finance and even, crypto, like, this really is the early days of the internet, but on a much larger scale. I always compare it to the dot-com bubble because we will experience something like that. Meme coins going crazy, things like that. Like, we need a regulatory wipeout of this space, essentially, where we wipe out all the nonsense, all the trash, and the only projects left over are the legitimate players. And once we have that, then we really start the major moves to the upside. And that's going to be utility and adoption and usage of these networks. And it's going to be usage that people don't really even know that they're using Stellar. They don't know about Ripple. They don't know about, XRP or even XLM. It's very similar to, HTTP and TCP. Like, things are going to look so different in a couple years. I always stress that. But even over here, right? Like, we got a full new report from BlackRock, and I have it here. I said, remember what I keep saying, the steps are being taken in order to accommodate for these new technologies. Head of digital assets at BlackRock, eventually we expect there will be a convergence where the best of the old system and the new technology will become fused into a new infrastructure system in finance. What this really is hinting at is the fact that we are about to see a new complete infrastructure around our system. This is a new financial system rising in front of us. This is the largest asset management company, but also remember that they are extremely bullish on tokenization as well. The journey into a completely new world of finance has already started. Focus on the projects in this space that are at the forefront of the tokenization and digitalization revolution. I already put a spotlight on XLM, XDC, HBAR, XRP, and others. There is a lot of great opportunities in this space. It might not seem like it now, but this is an opportunity of a lifetime and probably the last opportunity of this size for the next 50 to 100 years. And, I always stress the fact that we are truly blessed to be able to be in this space right now and know the information that we know, because not everyone has that opportunity. And majority of the population is truly distracted away from the facts. Things are happening behind the scenes. There's a lot of major moves happening. How do we know this? How are we aware of this? Well, it's because of what we see happening from the largest players out there, like the BIS, for example. Fast payments design and adoption. This is from March 4th. Now, they give us a breakdown of how faster payments and faster payment systems are becoming the main focus point. And even within this, right, we have the key takeaways. Fast payments have achieved mass adoption in some jurisdictions, but not in others, with adoption likely depending on the design characteristics of different fast payment systems. Adoption of fast payments tends to be more widespread when the central bank owns the faster payment system, when non-banks participate, and when the number of use cases and cross-border connections is greater. These insights can help inform the design and development of faster payment systems and other payment infrastructures. Now, also within this, right, if we scroll down to the bottom, right, they give us a breakdown of the actual full focus and the design features of this. We have user focus, infrastructure, roles, governance, but then down here we have the infrastructure, which is the full-on layer that I've been focused on for a bit of time. And this is where we start to kind of see the real picture. We have infrastructure refers to the underlying plumbing, i.e. the systems and technology that enable the provision of fast payments to end users. For fast payments, the key infrastructure is the wholesale settlement system, which settles payment obligations between the PSPs of the end users. Now at the bottom there, right, we get a little bit of a glimpse at what they're talking about. So we have, apart from the settlement system, various other types of infrastructures are key to the functioning of a faster payment system. These may be additional systems like proxy databases, which are responsible for enabling aliases. Additionally, FPS may also rely on messaging standards like ISO 20022 or API standards for communication between PSPs. Auxiliary infrastructures such as cloud computing can also be important to provide scalability for the delivery of fast payments. Now, as we think about this, right, it's all fully centered around API with ISO 20022 and also interoperability, which takes me back to like Quant and a few other players like that. Remember, Quant is an API connector. It connects the old system to the new system, which is DLT. So as we think about that, right, and as we really kind of focus on what's happening here, obviously they're trying to achieve faster, settlement systems, faster payments as a whole. And it really goes back to XLM and XRP, which I will talk a little bit more about after this article. So this is January 26, 2024, the evolution of payment rails, shaping the future of financial services. Within this, right, all we really have to read is the breakdown. This article explores the transformative evolution of payment rails in finance, predicting a reshaped landscape with key trends such as e-commerce surge, open banking adoption, and real-time payment shifts. It delves into unbundling financial services, the rise of innovative providers, and dynamic changes, examining the influence of open banking, real-time transfers, super apps, big techs, cryptocurrencies, and central bank digital currencies. The conclusion emphasizes the ongoing redefinition of payment infrastructures, stressing the need for banks to adapt and innovate for success in this dynamic environment. Now, like I said, as we really look at what's going on here, the entire environment around payments is changing. Vital technology will play a crucial role. We already know the players that are tapped in because of, again, all the documents, everything that we've read. Now, when we look at Stellar, I more so look at Stellar as P2P. I've always looked at Stellar as more so P2P. Ripple, I look at more so as B2B, and that's not a bad thing, right? They both work at complementing one another. But I've also put out a post regarding this. So I said, so let me get this straight. XRP and XLM are the only two digital currencies mentioned on IMF, BIS, and the World Economic Forum, central banks, and government documents for modernization of payments. Almost all documents mention DLT and streamlining payment technology for faster payments. Rapid payments demand rapid settlements. What companies have been expanding rapidly and have been focused on these issues for over a decade? I'm hyper focused on what Ripple and Stellar is doing. We are witnessing the rise of third generation payment technology. And as we think about this, right, really understand where we are at currently around this entire ecosystem. Everything that has been put out in terms of documents leading up to now, there really is only two major players that are mentioned, and it is Ripple and Stellar. Why are these the only two mentioned constantly? Well, it's because of their connections. It's because of the technology that they provide. It's the same exact reason why when I look at Stellar and I'm like, all right, well, tokenization is really brewing on Stellar. Why is that? It's because of the efficiencies and what they already have in place behind the ledger on the tech stack. They already have the offering that is needed from institutions to actually launch tokenization endeavors. When we think about Ripple, right, they are already in discussions with central banks. They already have massive amounts of connections to institutions. Again, all of this is a major thing to focus on. But then we think about tokenization, right? So again, with tokenization, Ripple and Stellar are two companies that are fully focused on tokenization. Now, is Hedera focused on tokenization? Is XDC? Yes, 100%. And I do think that they will be extremely successful. But remember, Ripple and Stellar are an absolute giant of themselves. They have been around for years. They have been building bridges for years. Bridges to institutions, major banks. They have been building connections. Why do you think that they are on a lot of these documents? Not to mention going back to the BIS, right? We already know that the BIS does have Ripple on their CPMI group. Now, again, that's all around B2B. That's all around CBDCs, things like that. Now, you might be questioning, well, Nick, what about Stellar? Is Stellar going to be at the forefront with CBDCs or anything like that? Again, when we talk about what Stellar is doing, it's more so P2P. But I do love the fact that Stellar is at the forefront of tokenization, specifically with Wisdom Tree and even with Franklin Templeton. And we already know that Wisdom Tree, they said that they're choosing Stellar and Ethereum, but for the most part, it seems as though they are only utilizing Stellar. They don't care about Ethereum. And do you ever question why? It's very simple. It's because when we really look at Stellar and Ethereum, they are both in a completely different world. Ethereum is inefficient versus Stellar, which is extremely efficient to tokenize on. Now, I know what everyone's going to say. Oh, well, we just saw BlackRock choose Ethereum. Read between the lines. They chose Securitize. Securitize is blockchain agnostic, which means Securitize could tap into Ethereum, Stellar, Avalanche, Polygon, or any network on their list. Again, when we think about that, right, XDC is on the list for Securitize. Stellar isn't, which is also why I talk about XDC. When we think about this, you need to understand the names tied to Wisdom Tree, BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, all of them. Because if Ethereum is in the same list as Stellar or XRP or something like that, it's not going to be Ethereum. We know that Ethereum will essentially be phased out at some point in time because of how inefficient it is. We know this because Hedera has already been usurping a ton of demand from Ethereum. This will only continue. because you can't build scalable financial technology with Ethereum. I've said it 100 times. And this is why at the end of the day, as we really look at what's going on, like the revolution is already starting. Like these things are already starting. This journey has already begun. And you have to look at the next generation technologies. XRP and XLM, they have a role to fill. So does XDC, so does HBAR, but Stellar, focus on what Stellar is doing. They continue to push massive updates like, smart contracts on Stellar. The tokenization efforts that they are doing are huge. I have been fully focused on Stellar for a while, and I'm very excited to now start to see a lot more people looking into Stellar, looking into what XLM is doing, and realizing how big of a giant this has always been. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.